back to another episode of the Real Deal Podcast. All of our technology.
Yeah.
All right, we're back. I think we're good.
Yeah,
I think we're Gucci.
I think so.
Yeah, with myself, Mr. Brandon Haley, and
Hey, baby, how are you doing?
what up, what up, what up, Mr. Cleon Deal.
Hello, happy to be here. Happy to
What
be here.
what do we talk about today? I have no idea. But
Uh,
also,
yeah.
what is the deal of the day? I
What-
guess we could start there. We didn't even plan one,
We-
so I'm just throwing Cleon right into the wolves right
Thank you,
now. What
thank you
is
so much for that. The deal of the day. We're just gonna wing it.
the
When
deal of the day? We're on the topic of red flags,
red flags.
part two,
Yes, yes, yes.
and the deal of the day. What's the motivation?
Some motivation.
Something to think about for today's episode, because
Something to think about for today's episode is as we talk about these things, do some self reflection. Know which one of these things may or may not apply to you. Because unfortunately, we're not all as perfect as we would like to think. And that's just what life is. So, if something speaks to you, something makes you feel a little bit triggered as we're talking about it, that one might apply to you. And just do the work, figure out what it is, and figure out how you can heal, man.
do the work, do the work. All right,
Do the work,
today
baby.
let's hop into a red flag of gaslighting. But
Gaslighting.
before we do this, me and Cleon had a conversation yesterday, and
Yeah.
he brought up a good point.
Mhm.
Today, in today's age, once you get to the young age of 30, do you still need to ask your girl to be your girlfriend
Mm,
if you're talking to them?
that's a good question. Drop some answers here in the chat for me. Yeah,
And I'm pretty old school, I
you're old
guess. I
fashioned.
mean, I'm old. I
Yeah.
am old.
Uh huh.
So I figured yeah, you still do, because it's
Right.
not it's not your significant other until you fully ask them and they
Uh huh.
accept and agree. It's just like, if you're going to if you want to marry her, you're going to ask her,
To marry you
right?
for
And she's going to tell you yes or no. And if she says no, then you got to
right.
get up out of there.
Okay. So
But if she says yeah, then you're good.
my main concern really with it is more so the term than the action. The term of a girlfriend at our age. I
Hmm.
don't it just seems young or kiddish a little bit. That's the reason why I was asked. I'm like, do we do that
Hmm.
at 29 and 30 years old to say, will you be my girlfriend?
But is clear communication not important in a
I,
relationship?
I agree. It is absolutely important.
All right, so then you got to be communicating and be on the same page
I agree.
if you're going to be with that person. It's not boyfriend and girlfriend unless you ask them.
Right. So, like I said, my objection is the term, not the action. So, my
Mm.
question is there a different term that we should be referring to this as at our age? Or maybe it is boyfriend and girlfriend, and maybe I'm just thinking too hard
Oh,
about
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
You know
You
what I'm
might be
saying?
thinking. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
I'm a super
what
technical guy.
if you what do you introduce your girl as?
Her name.
Do you say this is so and so, or do you say this is my girlfriend so and so,
I
or
just
this is my girl, or do you just say this is it? This
this
is
is
this.
this is her,
This
and
is
this
who
is
they
what
are.
her name is. My assumption is that if I'm depending on what setting that we're
You
in.
must not have really had your fuckboy era too good then. Because you gotta have a proper introduction for the girlfriend versus not.
Because my thing was like, if I'm going somewhere with her and I'm introducing to somebody,
Mhm.
chances are I already prefaced it with I'm bringing my significant other.
So
So
you just call him my significant other. You
n-
didn't say I'm
n-
bringing my girlfriend.
not upon introduction, I'll just say, hey, I'm, like when I went back, like went back home. I told my parents, hey, I'm gonna be
That's
bringing,
what I was saying.
but
Yeah,
my mom really was the one. Oh, by the way,
hmm
he's bringing his,
girlfriend.
but it's funny though because while we were there at my sister's wedding, she's introducing her to my new brother-in-law's mother,
Hmm.
and says this is his this is his fiance, girlfriend, future wife. We'll just say that.
Fiance, future wife, girlfriend, all the above. So you really have no choice
Now I have to marry
on
her.
that
Is
one.
that what
Yeah,
we're saying?
I ain't saying anything. But speaking of marriage, we know I'm not anywhere close to that
Well, take your time, man.
for the time being. But I did tell you guys I'm talking to a girl. So,
Yeah.
and this is how the conversation arrives. I'm like, should I ask her out? He's like, do you even need to? I'm like, yeah, I feel like you
Well,
need to.
I
So
agree you should, but like I don't know how you do it. I don't know what do you say right now at our age? Do you say will you be my girlfriend, or is there a different thing that you're saying
you
to?
put on some like really slow music in the background. You put on your light skin face.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You have a light skin face?
Oh, I have. Come on, come on. Light skin face.
Yeah.
Start licking the lips a little bit.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Say, hey, baby.
Okay. Okay.
Come a little closer.
Okay. Uh-huh.
No,
Uh-huh.
I'm just kidding. That's not what you do. But yeah, you guys have we're on episode 27 of this journey. You guys think I should ask this girl out or what?
So no, what would you say if
What would I
upon
say?
asking her out? Like, how do you do that right now? What do you say?
I would tell them how much I care about them,
Sure.
and I would ask them to be my girlfriend.
That's what you say. So will you be my girlfriend, or do you want to be my girlfriend? Like, what do you say?
I would say, will you?
Will you?
Will
Will
you?
you?
Yeah, that's what I say. I would say, will you be my girlfriend?
Will you be my
And
girlfriend?
then if she says no, I'm like, all right, gotta get up out of here. I'll be like, God, it wasn't meant to be.
It's funny because there was some debates going on online about if you propose to somebody and they say no,
Oh, yeah,
is the
you're done.
relationship over?
It's over.
They're like,
It is. Because at
Right.
the end of the day, like in a relationship, you guys have to move forward in that relationship together. And
Right.
if somebody's moving faster than the other person,
yeah,
then and you go and ask them to marry you and they say no, it's it. That's it.
Right.
Like the relationship is done at that point. It's because one person had moved faster than the other person. So
my point with
What up,
those
Furman?
things have always been like, for me as a man, I'm not proposing to nobody. I'm not 100% sure saying yes. Like
I would do that as well.
because that's crazy to me.
I would make sure if you're proposing to the person that they're gonna say, yeah, don't I wouldn't recommend that you propose if you think that they're not 100% on board.
Yeah,
And these are things that you got to have a conversation about anyways.
absolutely. Yeah.
If you're not having a conversation about the future and then you just pop a question, first of all, you got to, if her dad's still around, you got to get her dad's blessing too.
Yeah.
And her dad is probably going to know
Mhm.
whether or not she's going to say yes or no anyway. So he
Right.
might save you a little bit of
If she has it, dad. But yeah.
yeah, but there's also a story my roommate was telling me.
Oh God.
And he was saying basically, he had his dad blessing, and then not too far after that, then they just broke up. So, so I guess it don't always work out that way.
That's pretty
But
funny.
yeah, God bless his soul. Maybe we'll have him come on and talk about that story.
Yeah,
But yeah, you have to ask a girl out, just like you got to ask her like to marry you.
Yeah.
Clear
and-
communication is key,
Okay, so that's fair.
in my opinion.
It's funny on that proposal piece. I've been watching a lot of divorce court lately. Just something
Divorce
that have
court?
it's
Bro,
just
how
something.
old are you?
It's just something that's on TV while I'm like cooking or something like that. So I'll be watching it and I see that some men propose out of like guilt or just because they feel like they should and not because they actually want to. And I'm like, that's another side. Like you shouldn't propose to somebody unless you know they're gonna say yes, but also you just shouldn't propose if you don't actually want to be. And some guy was like, well, we're already together, so I felt might as well. And that's something that she wanted. So I thought,
Yeah,
I'm like, that's crazy.
A lot of times people just get comfortable, and
Yeah.
what we do not like to deal with as human beings is heartbreak can change.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like that's what happened back in the earlier days, like
Mhm.
80s and not 90s, but in like the 80s, people just got into relationships and got married because it was what they knew and was comfortable.
Right.
Now we're in the social media day and age where you can just see what you want. Like, oh no.
Right.
It's like, nope. You got this flaw. Let me go find something else that's
Right.
a little bit better, instead of actually getting to a relationship
Mhm.
and work with it and mend it.
What if you get somebody pregnant? Should you then propose to her? Because that was something they were doing too. Like, oh, I got her
mm,
pregnant, so I had to step up as a man and propose to her.
you do need to step up as a man because you did get her pregnant.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I don't think you need to propose. if you if you don't think that that woman is going to be your wife, then I don't think you need to propose. But
Right.
that's a pray to God situation right there
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's that's a kid.
Yeah.
That's another life that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
If it makes sense to do it, yeah, but I wouldn't do it just because then if you marry somebody
Mm-hmm.
that you don't want to be with in the long run,
Right.
your kid is going to see that. And
Yeah.
what we talk about all the time is that the kid is either going to accept or reject
Right.
what he sees
Mm-hmm.
or what she sees.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, don't worry, Max. We're gonna do a lot of red flags, bro. We'll get you on for a red flag. Let us know which one you want to talk about. We'll get you on. It's a whole series, brother. This is just part 2, red flags. Um, where was I going with that? Oh yeah, that yeah, they're gonna see
Right.
how bad the relationship is, and they're going to think that's what a relationship is, and now
Right.
they're going to enter a bad relationship just because you stay with this person because
Right.
you got her pregnant.
Yeah.
So now that's what they're going to see, and they're going to think that that's what a healthy relationship is. Now their outlook on relationships is doomed
Right.
for how long until they do their own inner work and figure it out. Oh, this isn't what relationships are supposed to look like. So
Right.
yeah, if you get somebody pregnant, that does not mean you need to marry them. Absolutely not.
Okay.
You
Cool.
heard
Cool.
you heard it here first.
You. I don't.
But that's a situation you got to pray. You definitely got to pray about. So,
Yeah. 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 Absolutely.
well, all right, let's hop into some. What is this? Gaslighting.
Gaslighting.
So we talk about gaslighting. What is? I didn't even know if this is real red flag. I didn't even know this is actual real word.
I think Brandon's gaslighting us right now.
I didn't even know that this is actually. I've had somebody tell me I was gaslighting before,
Mhm.
but I didn't really know. I just think that it's a term women like to use a lot.
They do use it a lot. That
Um,
is true.
so it's like when you know the boy who cried wolf when you keep saying wolf 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 and there's no wolf and then he says wolf again, it's actual wolf, and I don't know whether when it's true or when it's not true.
Yeah, let me kind of
So
give
what is it?
yeah, let's so first I'm gonna give the AI definition and then I'm gonna give the origination of the term. All right. So
Mm-hmm.
gaslighting is described as a form of emotional abuse where someone manipulates others by making them doubt their own sanity, reality, or memories to gain control and power over them. So basically making somebody feel like they crazy. Now
Mm,
the origination
sounds
of
about right.
this it originates from a play back in 1938 and a film back in 1944
Mm-hmm.
called Gaslight, where a husband manipulated his wife into doubting her sanity by subtly altering things like the gas lights in their home and then acting like he didn't do anything with it.
Oh, that's where it's come from. That's pretty hilarious to be
It's
honest.
Brandon is a red flag. What do you mean that's hilarious?
We already mentioned last week. I am the red flag.
Yeah. So that's the origination of it.
So it says there's a film adaptations to that as well,
Yeah.
where the husband manipulates his wife into thinking she's going crazy with subtly changing things in their environment.
Right.
Okay, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, a little bit. So let's get into that a little bit. So number one, I guess, Brandon, why is gaslighting a problem? Let's start at the
Why?
basis.
Well, I feel like this is a relatively new term, but this is saying that it started back in 1938.
It's just popular.
It
It's
just
not
got
new.
popular within the last couple of years, I
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
like.
yeah, yeah.
So why is it a red flag?
Yeah,
Well, it's manipulation.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
At the end of the day, manipulation is going to be a red flag. Anytime you have to manipulate somebody to get or for your own personal gain,
Mm-hmm.
that's usually something that or a person you don't want to be involved with.
Yeah,
The problem is when it happens in relationships is that you can be unaware that
yeah.
you're doing it
Mm-hmm.
or that your significant other is doing it to you because you're so in love. So
So you
then
can
it's,
be unaware that you're gaslighting someone.
I think so.
This makes it seem like it's very intentional. So I
That
don't
makes it
know.
seem, but when I've had someone tell me, oh, I'm gaslighting them,
Uh-huh.
but then I'm like, how? Because I don't know. You also, so that's where I'm like, I guess, is gaslighting intentional? Does it have to be intentional?
By
Or can it be?
definition,
By definition, it
it
is intentional.
it seems very intentional.
Okay, so if a girl tells you you're gaslighting and you say,
Yeah.
no, I'm not,
Uh-huh.
are you gaslighting by saying you're not?
So my first question
We
would
need a
be
girl, phone a friend. Hey, Bree, what's the answer to that?
bring Bree. Where is Bree, man?
She was on the live for a second.
I think my first question, if someone were to tell me that, is how? Like, why do you
Mhm.
feel that way? But then she would then tell me again to stop gaslighting her into thinking I'm not gaslighting her. That's usually how that goes. But I would ask how. So why? And so typically with the responsibility is that you're making me feel like you want these things,
Mhm.
but then you act like you're clueless
All
about
right,
how you're making me feel
Bree's
that
in
way.
there. We needed her answer too.
Bree, answer the question. Bree.
What was the question again?
Oh,
Oh, so if does is gaslighting, like, does the guy have to be aware that he's doing it?
is it intentional or not?
Is it intentional or not?
Yeah, because it's
Because if you tell me I'm gaslighting you and then I'm like, no, I don't. So it has to be intentional. All right. She says it. You guys heard it
all
there
right.
first.
There
So
we go.
she speaks for all females across the board.
Bree's actually the expert on gaslighting. People don't know. Bree-
No, not wait. Oh, wait, not wait. No, not what?
Uh-oh. Oh, maybe she's saying that no, she's not the expert on gaslighting.
Oh, yeah, no, we're just kidding about that part.
But yeah, essentially you're kind of distorting somebody's reality. You're
Mhm.
basically making them question everything. So let's say like the love bombing thing, right? That
Yep.
we talked about last week. So you do all of this love bombing and then tell her, I don't know if I really like you like that. I don't know if I really see you like that
Mhm.
after you've done all these things. And now she's like, what are you talking about? Now you're making me seem crazy because you did all these things and made me feel all
Bree
these
said it
things.
doesn't have to be intentional.
Oh, now it doesn't have to be
Which
intentional.
that makes more sense because the
Uh-huh.
only way someone has ever told me I'm gaslighting is I didn't know I was doing it. So I'm like, what are you talking about?
So what was her reasoning for saying that?
Yeah, she said it could be subconsciously. Yeah, it's just
Mm.
like manipulating. When
Accidentally though.
right, it could be. So I agree. I think it doesn't have to be intentional,
Uh-huh.
but then it's
Could,
just how do you know you're really doing it,
that's what
right?
I'm saying.
What
Could
if
you
they are
imagine?
crazy? What if the girl is crazy? What if she really did remember something wrong?
Could you imagine the discussion of afterwards when she say you gaslit me and you're like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Now you're gaslighting
Now
them
you're
even more.
gaslighting about
Now you see
gaslighting
where
her.
the problem comes.
Yeah.
So you are the red flag. That's what it is. Right? That's what clear on the red flag, man.
But it does present, like you said, a larger discussion about people who are being told that they're doing this, people who are doing these things. Obviously, I don't know what the
Mhm.
easiest way to make somebody, for people who are, let's say, doing it unintentionally, right? Because I've been called a lot of names, unfortunately, in my tenure as a when I was
In your tenure of dating Latinas?
in my tenure of being a single man, having fun. But really, I think the problem is also the way that we see things. So two different people are going to see the two different things
Mhm.
two different ways. Or I'm sorry, they're going to see one of the same things
Two different ways.
two different
Yeah,
ways.
perspective plays a role into this. So how do you know, when can you distinguish between just two different perspectives or actual gaslighting?
That's the question. Because, well, and that's why I think it comes down to the intentionality of it, really, for me.
Right.
But maybe, like I said, maybe it doesn't have to be intentional. But at the end of the day, it's like if we're both saying the same thing, but we're saying it two different ways, we're arguing from two different perspectives. So I
So
didn't mean to do this to you.
mhm.
You know what I'm saying? But to you, it seemed like everything was purposeful and how it lined up.
So let's break it down into intentional gaslighting and unintentional
Yeah, move the
gaslighting.
mic closer to you just a little bit so I can, yeah, because
What
just
happened?
well, just the audio of it, I can hear more of the room than you in
Oh
the
yeah,
mic.
my bad, my bad.
Yeah,
So intentional gaslighting and
yeah,
unintentional gaslighting.
yes,
Intentional gaslighting based on the definition of it.
yeah.
So intentional gaslighting, we can agree, is a red flag. Is unintentional gaslighting a red flag?
I think it has to be because you're not aware that you're making somebody feel like they're crazy.
So you need to practice. more empathy, putting yourself in your partner's shoes.
Also, that part
This
of
is
it,
such a complex topic,
it's so
right?
complex. I think the other part of it is that you have to be aware about how your words and actions come across to others.
Hmm.
And that I think has been my big thing, which is why I talk about one of my issues is that I tend to over explain things. But the reason why I tend to over explain things is so I don't get accused of gaslighting, because I want to explain exactly what I mean by exactly what I say, so that way
Hmm.
there's no confusion later about what I'm saying, so you don't think I'm saying one thing and meaning another and you're not taking it differently than how I meant
Man, this is a interesting interesting topic here. So intentional gaslighting.
it. Hmm.
That's just we'll just both agree. Like, yeah, you shouldn't be doing that. Basically, just like it's talking about in the poem says, subtly changing things to make it seem like the other person is crazy.
Yeah, yeah,
So if you are doing that intentionally, yes, you're a POS. You shouldn't be doing that.
yeah.
We
Bad
agree.
person.
That is a red flag.
Yeah.
Um, basically saying twisting facts, saying that your significant other is remembering a situation wrong that never happened. You're imagining it.
Yeah.
You're overreacting. You're too sensitive. Saying things like that with the intent of you're wrong
Right.
and you're trying to make your partner feel insane. Yes,
Hmm.
that is a extreme red flag.
Yeah.
So if you are in a situation like that, get out of it. But if the person is doing it unintentionally,
Yeah.
I think that's when this is a little bit more complex.
Right.
What is the intent of the situation to determine whether or not you should move on from this relationship or not?
Hmm. I think at that point, there has to be number one, a clear communication from, unfortunately, the affected party.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, they have to be the one to come and clarify, like, hey, it seems like we're not on the same page somewhere, and we keep missing things, and things are the way you're explaining things to me is not how I see them happening or not how I see them going. And so
Hmm.
I need you, basically for them to just kind of open up that communication piece and just be making sure I'm talking to you in a language that you're understanding. Really, I think that's probably one of the larger parts of it. It's like, how do I put this? Like in a certain, like in a situationship that I was in a
Hmm.
while back, I would tell the young lady, "Hey, I do care about you." Now, because of what the relationship was, that was her "I love you,"
Hmm.
basically. So,
Right. All right.
so now she's expecting me to do things that people would expect you to do when you tell them that you love them.
Hmm.
When I'm like, I no, I care about you, but that's a different thing. And so now to her, I'm making her feel like she's crazy because she's hearing the word that I'm using in a different way than what I mean. And then she's placing an expectation on that verbiage from me, even though that's not exactly how I meant it. So then now
So
I'm
yeah. So
unintentionally.
unintentionally gaslighting.
Yeah.
So communication is the solution to gaslighting.
Lydia, what don't you understand? Yeah.
Proper proper communication
Mhm.
is the solution to gaslighting.
Right.
So if you are in a situation where I don't think a guy's ever going to tell a girl that she's gaslighting. I just don't think that
Why not?
we're built that way. I
Girls
don't
are great at gaslighting.
They are,
Let's
but
not
I'm
let
not
them
going
off the
to
hook here. We not about to do that.
they're
What?
great at it, so I'm never going to know that they're doing it. You feel me? It's not going to happen. I've never heard a guy tell a female she was gaslighting. I mean, I've never been in the room of every
they
conversation, but
They should though. We should men. We need to fight back.
oh my
start,
god.
start telling women that they're gaslighting you
I
just
just
like they do to us.
I don't know. I just feel like it's such a feminine thing.
Well, that's because we relegate any sort of emotional response to feminism, unfortunately.
That is true. We
And
do that as
we kind
well.
of do this thing that we're not allowed to be unclear about what's happening.
Hmm.
Which shouldn't be the case, right? We should be able to communicate that if we feel that way as well, because girls do be playing games,
Hmm.
for a fact. Our
So when they're playing games, just get up out of it.
right, sure, but
Clear communication
it's
is the
not
key.
that simple, and we know that. We know it's not that simple. You know what I'm saying?
Gaslighting itself is not that simple.
Right. Well, so this
What
this makes me think
what
of
a topic.
this situation where I was talking to, this was like years ago. I was talking to this young lady, And at the time, basically nothing serious ever happened. I could tell she was giving me the runaround because I've been around the block. I know how I go.
Right, right, right.
And so I knew probably she was probably involved with maybe another dude or whatever the case
Hmm.
is. So cool. Like you said, we get out of
You
there.
assumed or you just knew?
You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
You get it.
so how, wait, how do you know that though? How do you
Uh,
just assume? Because
because
how you met her,
the
or
girl
because that's just what she did, and you were just trying to?
was like a female version of what I was at the time.
Okay.
That's how I know. So when you see yourself in people, you're like, yeah, I know what that looks like.
I like that.
So years later, her and I and a mutual friend, we were all having a conversation,
Mhm.
and I was like, yeah, I was, spending a little with her. I was like, I mean, we could have been together at the time, but you was out there, you was playing games. She's like, I was not with nobody. Like, I don't know why you would say that. Her friend was like, yes, you were. I don't know why you're trying to act like that.
Mhm.
Then, like, we can be honest about this now.
So it's proper communication. It's just communication literally will solve 90% of your problems in a relationship. Just communicate properly.
But
Had you
unfortunately,
had just let her know how you felt at the time, I mean, everything happens for a reason,
I
but did
mean,
you not communicate? You never communicated
what
that.
at the time,
You
yeah,
just assume.
maybe right. But
You can't let your mind win.
when some things are obvious and clear, and I was right. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so then that's when you say, "Hey, you either keep doing that or you don't,"
Oh, I
and
just
then you
left. That's what
oh,
I'm saying. I just, you know what I'm saying?
you do that, yeah.
When you have options, you don't have to wait around for things like that. Let's be clear. Uh,
You're not wrong right there.
um,
You ain't wrong right there, brother.
but yeah, man, it's overall, it's just one of those things to where, like you said, I do agree. Maybe
Hmm.
communication can help it, but the problem is that once again, somebody has to know that they're doing it, and you have to believe the other person when they say that they feel that way. But the problem is that if someone tells me I'm gaslighting them, and I ask them how, the explanation of it may not be clear to me, and I still might not get basically what I'm doing to make them feel like things are, just not how I'm saying they are. They're not lining up in the manner that they needed to. So
Hmm.
so then what that takes
So then
time.
you're still
You're
gaslighting.
still, no matter what, you're gaslighting.
I think as long as we just keep bringing up communication to solve this problem, I think as long as you're communicating and you don't like try and manipulate the other person to actually feel insane,
Mhm.
then you're okay. I think from a female perspective, and because this term is so thrown out
It's
there
so thrown out
in
there.
today's
We
culture,
just say it.
it's like, is it really gaslighting or are you just acting crazy?
Is it gaslighting or are you crazy?
Just kidding. Do not make your
That should be the title of this.
do not make your girlfriend feel that you think she is crazy. Um,
But sometimes, so look, here's the
but
thing.
sometimes you gotta let them know.
Sometimes you are, and I think the other side of this is that you also have to take things for what they are and not what you have decided you want them to be, because that could be a
Hmm.
lot of that as well. Whereas I feel like you're gaslighting me because you did this thing and I took it as this, and you're like, that is not at all what I was doing.
All right, let's think of what is a good situation of when someone accused you of being gaslit.
So like, you know how that during that talking stage, and then
Hmm.
you never get to the relationship, and you're like, I just see you
What
more as a
about
friend.
actually in a relation? Okay, so what about actually in a relationship too, though?
What's gaslighting in the relationship? I would say basically when there are problems, and then when she expresses those problems to you and you act like those things like never happened. Like, oh, you told me this last week, and you're like, no, I didn't. I don't know what you're talking about. We never had that
I
conversation.
love that just short term memory
May-
loss.
maybe, but not to the other person, right?
All right. Well, there's been situations. I'm trying to remember.
Where you were a gaslighter?
Allegedly.
Alle-
There I go gaslight, right?
Allegedly,
Allegedly. I'm trying to think of the exact situation, but I think it's pretty similar to a conversation was had, and then I don't remember the conversation.
right?
But
But also the details of the conversation. You guys have two different versions of what conversation
exactly,
happened.
just like they always say, there's your side, my side, and then truth. There's
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
three sides to every story.
yeah.
So I don't know, man. That's just confusing there. Oh, I never changed the title for this one.
but yeah, I think that's like you said, it is a complex topic, but that's I guess how to avoid it is being as clear as possible. But number two, you also have to make sure you're talking to your audience.
So is it avoidable in a relationship?
It is absolutely avoidable.
Hmm.
All red flags are avoidable, but you
But
have to
if you're in
be.
a relationship with somebody
Mhm.
and you're gas like in your relationship there'll never be an instance where you get accused of gaslighting.
Will there? Maybe there probably will
So it's
be.
not 100% avoidable.
Well, what I'll say is that like I said,
But
it depends
early
on.
on, yeah. If early on in the talking stage, this is a problem. Get out. Run,
Sure.
run, 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 run.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is not. This is not. This is not when red flags are looking like six flags and you want to have some fun. This is the
Mhm.
one where if they are a manipulating person, they are a manipulating person. Get up out of there
Right.
at the beginning of the relationship.
Yeah, yeah.
So just so that is clear and everybody's on the same page, if that happens in the beginning,
Mhm.
run.
Right. Should always run.
Inside of a relationship
Mhm.
where you have communicated that you're a boyfriend and girlfriend,
Yeah, yeah, that one.
where you've properly communicated and gaslighting happens in a relationship, how do you
Right.
handle it then?
Well, if gaslighting happens, there has to be a conversation about it. There has to be a
Mhm.
conversation to talk about what did you feel like I meant by this word or this action?
Mhm.
What did you feel like that? Okay, cool. So you took it as that. The way I meant it was this, right? Because that's usually where that. Because maybe gaslighting is just miscommunication.
That's what I think.
You
I
know,
think
the
once you're in the
unintentional flow.
actual relationship, I 100% agree because everybody has different perspectives.
Right.
And if it becomes a reoccurring
Hmm.
situation
Hmm.
where your girlfriend is consistently saying that that's what you're doing,
Hmm.
then maybe you are, maybe you aren't. But to figure it out, if you are, why don't you empathize a little bit better and put yourself in her situation and see how you would react to whatever situation it may be?
Right.
That if it happens in a relationship where you're with this person,
Hmm.
there's ways to
Right.
mend the relationship and get through it. It's not a once you're in a relationship, it's not a red flag
Hmm.
to end the relationship, in my opinion.
Right.
If you're in a talking stage and this is constantly happening, then yes, do not pursue this relationship. It is an expired relationship from the jump. Get up out of there.
Right.
You just drinking spoiled milk at that
Hmm.
point. Get up out of there.
Yeah. So a few examples of gaslighting. Brandon, you let me know if you've done any of these things as I go
Nope.
through the list here.
I ain't I don't remember.
So one is denying reality. So
Nope, I never did that.
you're imagining things or that never happened or you're overreacting. You've never used any of those terms.
Oh yeah, women do
Okay.
overreact though.
Okay. Gaslighter. Um, this minimizing.
Do women not ever overreact?
Sure, people do absolutely overreact.
Women are very emotional,
Mhm.
so they're going to overreact. That's never mind.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No comment.
All right. So minimizing concerns. So saying things like it's
Mhm.
not a big deal or you're being too sensitive.
I say it's not a big deal all the time because one of the things that I live by is that we're all going to die anyway. So really, nothing is ever that big as you think it is. But I am a professional gaslighter.
Oh my gosh.
What you need to realize is that men think logically
Hmm.
more typically. There's always emotions involved when you're with somebody, whatever.
Jury's still out on that when you're talking.
Men will think a little bit more logically than females. So if your girl is telling you that you're gaslighting, then you need to meet her where she is, not where you are mentally, which you need to meet her in an emotional state.
Right.
So if she says that everything is a big deal, then you just have to agree.
Going back to sales tech, I agree. I
You
know, yeah, I
have
agree.
to empathize, not just agree. Because I can tell you from past relationships, you can't just agree. Because then they get even more mad. And then you're still gaslighting.
Dog, my
You
favorite
can't
thing,
just agree.
my favorite thing
You
that
can't just say, baby, you're right.
that yeah, right. My favorite thing that girls have done is that when
Mhm.
I say yes, you're right, they keep talking after that? Because
Oh
I'm
yeah.
expecting, okay, thank you. And then, but
Oh
they're
no.
still complaining about the thing we were originally complaining about. And I was like, yeah, you're right.
You
And then they
have
keep
to.
going.
You can't. We live in a day and age. You can't just say, "I agree with you, baby. You're right. I'm wrong." You can't do that because then they don't believe that. What you have to do. All right, fellas, you gotta listen to this.
Free game right here.
Free game. What you have to do is whatever the situation may be, you need to literally pretend you are her for 2 minutes and let her know exactly how you would handle that situation. So if she's talking about, oh my God, this girl at work did this to me. Oh my God, and I'm so mad at it.
Yeah.
Baby, if I were you and I was in that situation as well, and she did that to me, I would do the exact same thing as you. So I understand exactly what you're doing.
So lie.
Nah, I ain't say that. I ain't say that. You don't know what you would do if you were a girl, so it's not a lie. So you can't just say, baby, I agree with you. You have to, paint that picture for her that you really understand what she's going through.
Right.
And then she's gonna believe you.
Right. Okay.
Free game right there, guys. Sorry, ladies.
So another one of these things is blaming the victim. So blaming your bad behavior or whatever bad thing that happened on them. That's a big one. That's a large problem.
So yeah, you can never do that.
Yeah.
If you have a victim, I don't appreciate people with victim mentality.
Mhm.
Everybody has something they're going through,
Mhm.
and if you're weak enough to like blame it on your significant other, yeah, that's just not cool.
Yeah.
No matter what, everything is your fault.
Mhm.
So whether you're right or you're wrong, it's your fault. Where you are financially in your life, it's your fault. Where you are in your relationship is your fault. Like everything is steps that you've taken in order to be where you are.
Mhm.
So no matter what, it's your fault. So you have to take ownership with that. If you are with somebody that is constantly blaming you for how they feel, that is a woman. So women, run from those kind of guys.
Yeah.
Because you can't control a guy's feelings. You know what I'm saying? Now, if it's a woman that is saying that, oh, I'm only acting this way because you did this, women are sometimes very irrational. So communicate and get to the bottom root of it. Is he, because sometimes women will say one thing and mean another thing. So her saying, oh, I'm mad because you did this, could really just mean I'm just mad today.
Mhm.
But you got to get to the bottom of it and figure it out. When women say something, it doesn't always mean what they say. Just know that too.
Jesus.
And women, if you're in a relationship or talking to a guy that is saying that his feelings are based on how you act, then you're with a woman. So you got to go find a guy.
Yeah, well, the saying that I see a lot is that basically women are kind of mirrors of whatever it is that
energy.
you're giving them. So basically, if they feel like things suck all the time, chances are that's just coming. It's whatever it is that's coming from you. Unfortunately, they kind of grab that energy or that mentality from you. So obviously, gentlemen, be careful about how you're setting your relationship up, because you're gonna end up leading that to wherever it ends up going. Let's see here. Using others to validate claims. So like when you're in an argument with your girlfriend and you feel like you're right, and then you're like, as Cleon, don't you think that? And trying to bring me into that
into an argument. Yeah. No, that's definitely a red flag. No, I don't do that.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not a professional gaslighter.
not
a
professional.
The first two were pretty good. Yeah, those are pretty fun. Nah, I definitely don't do that. I think that's childish too. Just ask the other person. If you need someone else to validate what you're doing or to validate your story or anything like that, then it's not a good story. It's not
right.
You shouldn't need someone else to validate your own thoughts. You should be able to articulate your own thoughts and feelings, which is easier said than done sometimes. But
it's like when the guys like they go out with their boys and they do whatever and they're like, oh, I ain't do nothing. Let's call him and ask him right now what we was doing.
See what was going on there. Nah.
Yeah. Oh, that makes me. Oh, maybe I was a gaslighter at one point.
No, 100%. Yeah.
Most
of the calm people usually get what is it? Like usually are the ones that are the gaslighters.
Are labeled as gaslighters.
Yeah. Usually are the ones calm because you're calm. Yeah, so you're going to make the other person seem like they're crazy based on your words. Yeah, because you never overreact. You just like, yeah. I don't understand how that's that big of a deal. And then like, what do you mean you're such a gas? And then it's like, oh, maybe you're right.
Well, I'm thinking about like when like me and the homies, when we weren't as good as people as we were now, when we would have
Mm-hmm.
discussions and we would bring each other in on whatever nonsense that we were spewing to whatever girl that we were with at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So we would kind of help each other on that in terms of like if we're trying to convince her that he's a good guy, you know,
Oh yeah,
you know,
remember them days. Yeah.
so that sort of thing. And obviously, knowing good and well.
So in that in that situation, that's about like knowing someone's reputation, and if you think you know, you probably know.
Yeah, but he's a
Um,
changed man now.
oh
Like,
yeah, of course.
I've
People
never
people can
seen
change. People
I've
can
never
change
seen
for
him
sure.
act like this with nobody except you. That sort of
Oh,
yeah,
that
that
conversation.
thing.
Nah, yeah. Don't believe everything you guys hear, ladies. Make sure you see it for yourself first.
Yeah,
People can change, I agree,
I
but
agree.
don't take the guy you're talking to's homeboys.
Don't take his word
Don't
for
take
it.
his recommendation. Yo, here's my boy's resume. He's doing a great job. You should date him.
Yeah, that's
Nah, that's not how you do it. Go based on his actions, and got people will show you. People will show you exactly what their intentions are and how they feel. And then there's another thing called communication. You just ask them what their intentions are too.
Yeah, but that's a slippery slope. The thing is, especially with that, because that's a good point with just asking somebody directly what their intentions are. Unfortunately, I feel like a lot of people don't really be knowing what their intentions are.
Then
Sometimes they
it's
get out
okay to
there.
not know, but
Yeah,
you got to let that be known.
right. But that's the problem, right? Because if I say
Yeah.
I don't know, then she's like, well, I don't like that. And then he's like, I like you. I'm interested. I don't know where I want. It's like I'm a dog chasing cars. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I've gotten this far. I don't know what to do once I've caught it, but I'm just hoping that it works out well for me.
Well, at the end of the day, man, relationships ain't easy. There's so much that goes on about relationships. So, but if you find somebody worth fighting for, just keep fighting the good fight,
Keep fighting the good fight. Only
keep
if
fighting
they're
the good fight.
if they're worth fighting for.
Yeah, that means that they're not gaslighting you at the beginning of a relationship. Once you're in it and they do it, it's okay. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You just communicate that. It's
Yeah.
still not okay to make your girl feel like she's crazy. Although women can be crazy at sometimes. I'm sure you guys can agree.
Yeah, I think that
Not all the time though.
yeah, not all the time. I would think that a way that a lot of people do gaslight, especially at the beginning, is kind of like with their time. I
Hmm.
think that probably what happens a lot because usually when you first meet somebody, you may or may not still be involved with other people. So
Well,
basically, it's times where it's like maybe they may
sometimes,
text
yeah.
you, call you. Oh, I didn't. Oh, my bad. It's been a while since I took my phone died or whatever the
Hmm.
case is. Or, oh, I can't hang out with you on this day because I have this to do. But really, what I'm saying, you're over here with somebody else or whatever the case
Hmm.
is. And to them, they're like, okay, so you're telling me that you're interested in me, but you never had this time. You take all this time to text me back. You never called me back. You only talk to me after 10 p.m. I don't know what's
Well,
going on.
if you are talking to somebody and you're trying to get serious with them, you shouldn't be entertaining anything else. At the end of the day, you should only be entertaining one
When do
serious thing
you
at a time.
know you want to be serious with? Do you know you want to be serious with somebody the first time you meet them?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, I mean, it happened.
Yeah.
Yes, Bree. That is considered lying. I agree. That is lying. That is gaslighting and lying. That's manipulating and lying.
Lydia just told me. She said, "I'm
That is
controlling, but I haven't been wrong yet." She
okay. So you find your guys in different areas. You know what I'm saying? Like you finding them in the wrong area. Like if they have to lie and do all that stuff, like you finding the
Yeah.
wrong person, like go somewhere else. But if you are entertaining a girl that you like, you should only be entertaining that girl that you like.
But that's what I'm saying,
Because
though.
then what if you want to get serious? Then you want to date them. Then
Yeah.
you're just gonna be, oh, let me cut off all my real quick.
Yeah.
No, I've been there, done that.
But
It
that's
causes so many problems.
but that's the tough thing though. That's what I'm trying to figure out,
No,
right? Because because this is what I talk to everybody about when it comes to if you were perpetually single and then trying to get into a relationship.
perpetually single. You
That's
guys hear that? Hold on, wait. What? You mean if you were a hoe?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure. Let's break it down in layman's terms. If you was out there running the streets,
If you were really in the streets, perpetually single.
you know what I'm saying? You was really out here like that.
If you was in the streets, okay.
To transition to a relationship is a lifestyle change, just like any other thing. Like if you've never worked out and you want to now get consistent into the gym, you're going to mess it up a few times. It's just like with anything else. So what I'm saying is that when you have been that single and that's been your lifestyle and you meet somebody, at what point do you like, at what point should you be like, oh, okay, now because you're not gonna have everybody cut off because that hasn't been your life. You have to transition over to that thing.
You do, but what are your intentions? What are your intentions? Do you want to continuously be this guy
Maybe.
for forever, or do you want to get married to a girl?
It depends on the girl that I'm talking to.
It doesn't. So here's how I had to change my mindset.
All right, let's talk about it.
Because when you are perpetually single,
Yeah.
and then you find a girl you want to date,
Yeah.
it just creates it's a little messy. You know what I'm saying? You gotta cut some things off. You gotta move.
You gotta move some pieces around.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You gotta have a starting five, and then you gotta
and
now it's one-on-one. So it changes.
Mm-hmm.
It's messy, it's not fun. When you just stay single and wait for God to bless you,
right?
There's no cutting anything off. It's just all right. Then you're just with that one person. Then you're just talking to him. You don't have any extra side things to cut off. So you just have that thing right in front of you.
Right.
So it's better to, if that's what you want, if you want a marriage, then you better expect that wife to come. But you're not going to get that wife until you act like the husband. Just like the same thing, vice versa. For women, you have to be the wife before the husband comes. A husband isn't going to find a girlfriend. A husband is going to find a wife, but you have to be the wife. You can't be the one perpetually single in the streets and he finds you. He's not going to find you like that. You're not right. You're going to keep, it's the same patterns over and over again, repeating themselves.
What if that's not what your mindset was? What if your mindset wasn't that I want to go and get married until you met this girl? So until after you guys have been talking for a little bit, you guys have hung out a few times, then you're like, oh, now I actually like this person. And then at that point, right, because you still kept these things here because you weren't sure about what you were trying to do.
Right.
And what you're trying to
do. Then you want as soon as you come to that realization, then you cut everything off.
That's tough, man. Like I get it, and it makes so much sense. But I agree with you though, because once you decide that's what you want, because that's what I did really. After a certain point, I was like, look, I'm not trying to do really, because life got, you know how messy life got a few times. And I was like, I just don't want to be involved in a situation like this again. So I'm like, I'm gonna do this thing where it's just one girl at a time. I'm gonna make sure it's completely over before I decide to even have a discussion with anybody else. Wait till it's complete, which is really not as fun. Let's be clear about it. Often doing the right thing and doing the hard work is not the fun thing to do, but it's the necessary thing to do.
That is true indeed.
Yeah. So it's just the way you have to approach it, but you have to make that decision first. Otherwise,
once you come to the realization, then it's like, all right, cut everything off, communicate that to the other person. And then that's when you have the exclusivity talk. Like, hey, I want to be exclusive with you. And then
now what if she says, I thought we already were exclusive? Then what? then what? You've been talking for 4 months and you're like, I want to be exclusive. She's like, what do
you've been talking for 4 months. You should have been had that conversation.
And she's like, what do you mean you want to be exclusive? I thought. Now what?
Then you probably
now it's tough.
All right. First of all, 4 months is crazy. So let's just say
4 months is crazy. Is that a long time?
You should. I mean, if you're talking to someone for 4 months, why are you not dating them?
So what do you? Okay, so maybe
unless you let the intentions be known that this isn't, we're never ever going to date. But if you are talking to somebody, as soon as you figure it out, it shouldn't be 4 months. It should be like 2 months.
So what is So I think maybe we have to get on the same page of what do you mean by when you're talking to somebody? I mean, like you meet somebody, you just like getting to know them.
If you're hanging out with them, consistently, that's talking.
What's consistently?
Once a week.
Once a week. Okay.
Minimum. More than once. Okay. More than once. That means you're talking to them.
So more than once a week, then you guys.
If you're consistently texting, hanging out once, twice a week, or once every other week, anything in that realm, then that's considered you're talking to that person. You're in the talking stage of that relationship.
And you think 4 months is too long to be doing that?
And to be in that stage? Oh, hell yeah.
So what's an appropriate amount of time for the dreaded talking stage that everybody hates so much?
So to go, well, I think once you know or think you should do something, you should do it.
That's
So
not what I asked. What's the no? Because what we should be talking about is when should a girl cut and run, and when should a guy be looking to make something like that, or should he decide to leave it at that point if he's not sure about it?
4 months. What are you not sure about after 4 months?
4 months, I don't even think that's a long time, honestly, to really if
To
you
hang out with somebody, to know if you want to date them or not date them.
I don't know.
Shit, guys know after
What?
the first date if the girl's potential to be
Yeah, and you be
dated
wrong
or not.
half the time.
Yeah, you can be. That's why you don't say, "Hey, be my girlfriend" after the first date, and you talk to them for a couple weeks to a couple months, and it's like, all right, then we get into it. I don't know. Maybe 4 months might be the cutoff time of it, but it also depends on how the communication of the relationship is too.
Yeah.
But I feel like once you know as a guy that you want to be all in, you should be all in, and once you know that you want to date that person, you should date that person. Just keep it simple. If that's how you feeling, that's how you feeling. So let them know.
We dropped a song called All In, by the way.
Dropped a song called All In, baby.
But
I'm
yeah,
gonna start singing it. That's how I'm gonna ask her out.
Yeah. But I think that does make a lot of sense, though. I think it is going to be strictly dependent on kind of the conversation, because obviously, if your hangout once a week is it's after 10 p.m. Hey, what you doing? Come over. That's different than you guys are going on dates and maybe talking. A little boo loving on the phone and all that.
Yeah,
it's
all
a
that
different
stuff.
thing. It just really depends on what it is during that time span. But I can.
And ladies, if you don't know, ask. Simple as that.
What are we? Love that
Literally,
conversation.
I mean, you ain't even got to do that. But also just see, just like you were saying, just look at the times that they're inviting you over. Are they taking initiative to plan things, getting you flowers? Like, are they doing all those little things early on in the relationship?
But make sure it's not love bombing, though.
Yeah, make sure it's not like stuff every single time.
There's
you hang
too
out.
many rules.
There's so many rules.
There's too many rules. It is,
and that's why we have a podcast. Yeah, just make sure they're not love bombing you. How do you know they're not love bombing?
But also make sure they're not too distant.
Make sure they're not just inviting you over late at night.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's why I tell y'all, ladies, stop putting out, like, make them work for it. Make them work for it till they ask you to date. But then again, don't let them just ask you to date just to hit. So make them wait for it even longer.
Yeah, interesting.
Make them wait, man. I tell you, just make them wait. Hold out, ladies. You guys can do it. I believe in you.
Yeah.
Oh man, so many rules.
There's so many rules.
Someone taking notes on these rules.
This is why we've gotten it wrong so many times.
Yeah,
there's too many rules that nobody told us about.
So many rules. But yeah, ask the question. You ain't got to be like, what are we? But look at the signs. Look at the signs. But then it's like, don't overthink. But look at the sign. Jesus Christ, man.
How many times have you been asked, what are we? Just as a rough estimate.
I don't even think ever.
Oh yeah, I forgot. You're in love after the first 3 hours.
Oh my God,
I forgot.
No, because I try and set the intention straight. I try to set it. I try to make it clear, like, hey, this is what it is. Like, if I'm not in the headspace to date you, I'm gonna let you know, like, hey, this is just for fun or whatever it may be.
Right.
And then if you want to start hanging out more, and then it'll be like, all right, I don't think we should do that because this isn't like where I see it going.
Right.
The what are we was like when we were younger. That was like, because then there's no communication.
Right.
I would just get in it and just
go, man.
Gaslight,
baby.
Gaslight to get what I want, I guess. Manipulate to get what I want. And then it's like, oh, well, what are we? Well, I was like, no, this is just fun. But if you communicate your intentions up front, you don't ever have to worry about the what are we question. So ladies, if you're trying to talk to guys that don't know how to properly communicate their intentions, then you can ask the question, where is this going? You don't have to say what are we, because I think that's kind of,
yeah, you don't think that's good?
I think that's kind of cliche. You can say, where is this going?
That's how I feel about will you be my girlfriend?
What are your intentions?
That's a good question. What are your intentions here?
Yeah. Figure out what are your intentions instead of what are we? Because at the end of the day, you're an individual. He's an individual.
Yeah.
You're human beings. So if someone asks me that question, we're human beings, baby's laying down. So it's like, what are your intentions in this relationship? Where do you see it going? And then if they can't answer that, then you can run. If they can answer it pretty well, then you have your intention.
Now, is I'm gonna ask this question at the risk of sounding stupid. Is there a positive form of gaslighting? Trying to alter somebody's reality for a positive reason in a positive way?
Well, based on the definition,
Uh-huh.
no.
Okay.
But based on manipulating somebody to see maybe the light in themselves that they have
Right.
dimmed,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Okay.
So if you are, I guess, manipulating in a positive way, you are getting somebody to see the potential in them that you see, but they don't see in themselves.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
that in that way, 100%, you can do that. I just don't think that the proper term is gaslighting.
So then you right, okay, that's fair. So so there's a movie called Hitch. You've seen
Oh, I
Hitch?
love Hitch, man. I watched
Love
that
Hitch.
thing.
Hitch is a perfect form of gaslighting for I think a good cause.
Albert Brennan.
Albert Brenneman, where
Mhm.
he was the love doctor, and he basically put men in situations and kind of manipulated
The
the
situation.
situation in
Yep.
order to get people an opportunity that they would not have gotten. And I'm like, I'm all for that.
100%.
Maybe that's a positive way to do it.
That is positive manipulation, and manipulating the situation for somebody to believe in themselves, to think that they can attract a
Right.
woman that they believe is a higher caliber
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
woman. But at the end of the day, like, you should have the utmost confidence in yourself, because I've seen tens with twos.
Hey, let me tell you something,
You know
brother.
what I'm
Let me
saying,
tell you
man?
something, man.
Believe in yourself. It can happen to anybody. I see it's not even all the time. It's not
Right.
because they're ugly and have money. They're just ugly and they get them.
That's just what it is.
Some, just like, tall guys, they don't get all the girls. Short guys get the women too,
You
man. It's
know what I'm
because we're
saying?
funny.
That's so, and whenever I see something like that, I'm like, hey, shout out
Hey,
to you,
man,
man.
he probably funny. You know
It's
what I'm
just
saying?
it's just a
But
nod
it's
to
all
him.
it's also he's probably not a gaslighter. You know what I'm
He's
saying?
probably not, or he might have been. Maybe
He
that's how
yeah,
he got.
he might, making her feel safe, making her
Yeah,
feel at home,
yeah, yeah,
good
yeah,
at communication.
yeah. That's
You
what
know?
short guys are, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. And and that's sometimes why women go and get the ugly guys, because they're gonna love them harder.
That's what they be talking about on TikTok, talking about. So let's go get a medium ugly guy. And
Yeah.
so, first of all, let's just be clear. If you, as my woman, if you were to refer to me as medium, like, I don't know how I would feel about that. Don't know if I'd be thrilled about being referred to as that.
I was just referred to as the red flag that works in the club.
The
The
red
good looking guy
flag.
that works in the club is a red flag.
Mm, that is, it's just an occupation. Why is
Is
that
your occupation, can your occupation be a red flag?
that's a good question.
If you do OnlyFans or you're a stripper?
But what about on the male side? Well, I guess males do the same
I guess
thing.
if you're working at the club, you're the red flag.
Well,
Huh?
as a man, the male strippers and the males on OnlyFans is that
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole nother
those are
conversation.
two different. Those are two other things. But yeah, I mean, can
Because
your
then at the end
occupation
of the
be a
day,
red flag?
like, you got to find a way to make money, right? Would
Which
I
is
date you?
true.
Probably not. But am I going to knock you for making your money? Probably not either.
But the thing is, though, there have been some studies that depending on your occupation, you're more likely to cheat. So
Oh yeah,
that
like police officers,
travel
doctors, yeah,
nurses,
travel nurse, yeah,
um,
yeah, anything that's like long hours and gone and traveling.
yeah. So maybe that's a red flag, depending on
That's probably more of a red flag than being a
then
stripper.
then
That's another, yeah, that might be another good topic right there. We can
Mm,
talk about maybe.
apparently flight attendants too, which I'm like that.
Oh well, yeah. What do you think they're?
They're just in a different city all the
First of
time.
all, never mind. I'm not even going to talk bad about flight attendants. But yeah, they're in a different city. I'm gonna say they're not that smart, but I'm not gonna say that.
You just said it.
I did say that, huh? But I said it that I'm not gonna say it. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? So you
right.
guys
So
know that I
that you
really
didn't say.
didn't mean it, but I was thinking it.
Yeah.
And just because I was thinking it doesn't make it true. Make it true.
Okay.
And just because I was thinking it doesn't mean that it came from me.
Okay.
But because I said it.
Uh-huh. Interesting. Very interesting.
But all right, that's what else we gotta talk about on this?
I
I
mean,
think that's all I got.
the main thing, guys, is just do your best to openly and clearly communicate. I think that can solve a lot of the
Mhm.
gaslighting problems. Also, make sure you're understanding the way somebody is speaking and making sure you're speaking in a way that somebody is understanding. Because I would hate for you to be considered a gaslighter just because you all have constant instances of miscommunication. Now,
Mhm.
if you are intentionally gaslighting, stop being a bad person. Just just be straightforward and a bad person. I
Why
respect
do
that
guys intentionally gaslight?
because you have an intention and you want to get what you want from this.
Yeah,
So
and you want to feel superior typically, and you
you
also have you trying to get something from that
yeah,
person,
and I want to be able to keep you here, as
or you're
long as
trying to
possible.
hide something from that person.
Or you are trying to hide it, depending on what it is. Yeah, yeah. All those things are good reasons. Someone not like not good reasons to gaslight, but reasons why somebody
Reasons
would.
why I got we're exposing the men right there. Sorry, guys,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah, you guys getting exposed.
yeah.
We only know because we've done
Hold on, a legend. Hold on. We's a lot of people.
it. We all
I
right, fine, fine. I'll take full credit.
I've
I only know because I've done it.
I've lit one gas or two in my life. That's like it.
I've done
Maybe
it unintentionally.
unintentionally, man. Like, we're not bad people. We've just had bad habits before. That's just
And
what
great
it is.
experiences.
But we're here because we learn, and that's what life is
And
about, baby.
100%. And to wrap things up, at the end of the day, if this is something that you experience in the talking stage, run.
Mhm. Yeah.
If this is something that you experience when you're already in a relationship with the person, it can be overcome through proper communication
Mhm.
with that individual and empathizing with them and their situation. And
Mhm.
typically, that is going to be for men to empathize with the woman because a guy is never going to accuse a woman of gaslighting. If you do,
But
grow
we
up.
should
No,
start accusing them of
grow up.
gaslighting when they're doing it, man.
If they do it, but do
Yeah,
they?
but only if yes.
But women are just so forgetful sometimes.
No, no. The problem is we don't expect that from them. So when they do it,
Why?
for whatever reason, because there are angels. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? They're so
exactly.
close to like she would never do something like that.
Exactly.
There's no way she's doing that to me, man. It's like when you talking to your boys about a girl, and then
Yeah.
you start saying this stuff out loud, and everybody's looking at you like, "Hey, bro,
Hey, hold up.
I don't know about that."
All right, so we come to the conclusion: women can't gaslight. All right, guys. All right.
We didn't come back.
Women can't do it. Women, you're in the clear. But the whole episode, we gave you tips and tricks on what to look for when guys do it. And
Yeah.
if you experience that in the early stages, just get up out of there. If you experience that in the relationship, just be open and communicate,
Yeah.
and just let them know, hey, I want to talk about this situation. And if they get mad at it, then they are
Then
gaslighting
they
you
are
still.
absolutely. Anytime you're trying to clearly communicate something and somebody's looking at you and talking to you like you're crazy, they're a gaslighter.
Yeah. So maybe you need to give them some space and rethink that relationship.
And space as in leave them alone forever.
It may be forever, but we'll see. But other than that, thank you guys. You got anything else? Any last thoughts for us?
Yeah. Lastly, if you find value, comfort, or entertainment, anything that we're doing here, like, comment, share, subscribe, send to your mom, dad, sister, brother, especially your mom. Because we're great with moms, by the way. So
We
they,
love
they
moms.
they usually like us, we like them. But yeah, share it with everybody. We're
Mhm.
just trying to grow this as much as we can, and just hopefully reach some people who just need a little bit more, a little more guidance.
100%. And if you guys have any other red flags you want us to
Send us
speak
the red
on,
flags, man.
send us some red flags that we can talk about. And unrelated to red flags, we are in Q2 of 2025.
Q2,
So
baby.
make sure you're sticking to your goals, your morning routines. Listen to How to Be Successful in 2025 episode if you need a little bit of motivation, because at this point, once we get into Q2, that's when your motivation starts to wear off a little bit with your habits. So just get back into that morning routine. I know I struggle with that. Not meditating, but meditating has been good. Reading, praying, yoga. I've been doing yoga.
Oh, real flexible, huh?
It's good for my knee. Sign up for a dance class as well, so I'm gonna have all the moves.
What
Like
kind of dancing?
Hey, don't worry about it. You guys are going to see. You guys are going to see once we're done here. Bust a move on live.
Brandon's about to learn bachata and salsa. You know
Oh
how he
man,
gets.
how do you learn how to do like the little spins? Come on, man. You guys better watch out. But regardless of the fact,
yeah,
set your goals
Absolutely.
and then work towards them.
Work towards
So that's just me letting you guys know those are the goals that I set, and we're working towards them. We're in quarter 2, so make sure you refocus on that. Other than that, thank you guys for tuning in. Love you guys, and we'll see you next week on another episode of The Real Deal. Maybe I go on TikTok. TikTok.